On reading a little bit about feedback loops. Two quick directions here: observe the graphs and just circle your answers to the questions below, what you notice about their trends and what that means about what's happening with the values in the system. Once you finish these 4 graph analysis sets, then there's a very short reading on feedback loops, which is going to give you the information that you need to do the last part of the activity. So first, you're looking at these graphs, and the questions for all the graphs are the same. What do we know about the trend of the graph? So you're circling one of these 3 choices, and then what does that mean the data is doing? Is it moving towards the extreme, or is the data sort of balancing out? So just a quick reminder, with trends, we know increasing is rising upwards, decreasing is going to be moving downwards, and then both is going to be kind of a series of mixed. Okay? When we think about what the data is doing, the overall graph, if it's going to the extreme, maybe you think of going like all the way in on something with the extreme. That's what the graph is going to look like too. Going all in one direction versus becoming balanced. When we think about numbers and data balancing, it's kind of like the average, right? We are trying to work towards one main value. So that's what we're thinking about with these terms. So each graph, you're observing those 2 patterns. That's it. You're just circling it for set on the first page and the set on the second page. Okay? So just circling it up, what you're thinking you're seeing. Here, your purposeful reading is to grab 2 colors in your notability, 1 color that you're reading and highlighting up for things having to do with something called a positive feedback loop. So what you're highlighting up are definitions. What will say a positive feedback loop is, and then it will also say an example of a positive feedback loop is. You're switching colors for the second section, which is, again, definitions and examples now for this negative feedback loop. And so what you're going to see is each one of these, the positive and the negative, are going to correspond with some of those trends and observations that you made in the graph. So whatever your colors are, I've suggested here that you use blue and green, but the front part of this page is really going to be the positive feedback loops, and the back side is really going to be negatives. And so as you're reading through, you are going to highlight these examples that are going to be then plugged in down here. So you can make yourself a little bulleted point list. You should have a few examples coming from each section. Okay? Once you have that basic idea, then you're going here to the slides. Okay? The slides are giving you 8 quick examples similar to the graph, similar to the data that you've been looking at, and now backing it up with the reinforcing information you have from the reading. You're going to then decide for each situation, are you dealing with a positive feedback loop or a negative feedback loop? So these 2 words are the only words that I should see in this column. You'll write in either the word positive or the word negative here. And then this side, the reasoning, is using one of those 2 words that was observed before. Extreme, meaning it's going all the way in one direction, or the data is balancing out and what's going on is trying to equalize or stay even. So again, the only 2 words allowed in this column are extreme or balanced.